これは完全クリアを目指した方がいいんでしょうか。完全クリアっていうのは、おそらくこのデータベースを全部チェックすれば完璧にクリアしたと言えるんでしょうけど、これまだ半分も見てなくない？難しいな。そうなぁ。まあ話としてはなんとなく分かったんじゃないかなって思うんだけど、どうしようかな。会社、全然話してね。
I haven't been into work. I guess I've just been waiting to hear from you, hear from my husband.
夫からの連絡をっていうことは、6月25日時点ではまだ死体は発見されてなかったのか。死体ってそういえば調べたっけ？調べたような気もする。ああ、そうね。ギターのこのクリップもすごい気になるんだよな。出てくるね。
You want me to play something? I'm not the world's greatest guitar player. Okay. Probably needs tuning. No, it's okay. How about a traditional ballad? Should be right up your street. Sisters came walking by the sea. Oh, the wind and the rain. The eldest one pushed the other one in. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. See, they both had a love for the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain, but he only cared for the youngest one. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, the eldest envied her sister fair. Oh, the wind and the rain, with a pretty little face and her long blonde hair. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. So she pushed her in and held her down. Oh, the wind and the rain watched her as she slowly drowned. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Oh, she floated up and she floated down. Oh, the wind and the rain floated till a ship came by. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. Out comes the captain's son. Oh, the wind and the rain. Father dear, here swims and swan. Oh, the dreadful wind and rain. And then it gets really weird, so I think that's a good place to stop.
実績が。そうな。花の方が姉で、イブが妹なのかな。未だにちょっとどっちがどっちかっていうのはわからないというか、おそらくそうじゃないかなって感じだけど、あ、出るじゃん、タトゥーについての話。
Oh, my tattoo. I got it to express my individuality. It's an apple and a snake.
イブか。なるほどね。自己の証明ってやつかしら。そうだね。そうか。 タトゥーが入ってる方がイブね。
So I moved out. Got a small bed sit. Got my tattoo to mark the occasion. I was singing in a bar in the evenings, so I had some money, enough money to cover my rent. And I've been doing something similar ever since. I haven't put down any roots. I don't exist.
うーん。
He saw me singing one of my shows, pure chance. Not sure I remember what he was even doing there. Afterwards, I had a drink at the bar and he came over and we got talking. I knew who he was. Obviously I knew who he was, but he didn't know who I was. He was fascinated.
出会ってしまったのね。
He guessed my name from my tattoo. Told me it was a palindrome, like that would impress me. I enjoyed talking to him. It was amazing to be able to sit and interact and talk to him after all this time. He didn't tell me he was married. I'm not sure what he was
う
thinking.
わ、
He later told me it was like he was dreaming. A waking dream.
サイモンがやってるな、これは。まあ、若い頃にも会ってるんだ。3人で。それかまあ、入れ替わって会ってたのかもしれないけど。はあ、なるほどね。結婚。
A long time. We got married when I was
ああ、
17.
そうね。妊娠が発覚して結婚したんだもんね。17歳の時なんだ。
I guess you could call it that, but we were both happy to get married. It was a beautiful wedding. We had our first dance to Come Back and Stay. I'm not sure if that's a good wedding song, but I loved it. I chose it. I mean, it was genuinely our first dance. We'd never danced together before. It was probably awful to watch, but I enjoyed it. It felt like it was just me and Simon for that moment. Just the two of us.
サイモンが先に好きになったのってどっちなんだろうな。妊娠してしまって17歳で結婚したのはおそらく花の方だよな。イブに花がなりすましてた？いや、そう、なんか業が深そうですね、この人たち。あとは何で調べようか。だいたい出てきたワードは調べたと思うんだけど、あ、ヘレンって誰だっけ？あ、もう見たんだっけ？見たわ。
It's the Rockington Arms, the Rock, and the barmaid they're having sometimes, Helen. Peter said Simon had been in and had a few drinks. No. I think he spoke to Helen. She said he was upset about her argument, but I'm not sure what else he said. He likes Helen. He likes blondes.
ブロンドの女が好き、サイモンは。
Simon is 6 foot, darkish blonde hair,
あ、サイモン
average
自身
build.
か。
He's clean shaven. If his beard grows, it goes ginger, so he shaves it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with ginger hair. And bought a photo. They said a spring photo. This was taken last year on holiday in Rome. It's the best one I have.
証拠を提出しているね。
This other person doesn't exist.
あ、
I don't know what the blonde wig is, but it could be anything. Have you looked at the cat flap?
猫の入り口？何の話？そうか、ウィッグがあるのか。そういえばそんなワード出てきてたね。猫の入り口もちょっと後で調べるけど、ウィッグについて。
A wig? You mean... What type of wig? No, I've never worn a wig. What kind of wig? No. The parents decided there would be a wedding. And after the wedding, Hannah moved in with his parents. There was no way I could follow. So we were separated again. I stayed in the attic.
どうやって暮らしてたの？
It was hard. It's like I suddenly didn't exist. I would sneak out, but in case anyone recognized me, I started wearing a wig. Hannah and I would meet up in the park. I was trying to get pregnant. But I couldn't. I mean, I couldn't do it with anyone we knew, so it was sex with strangers. Drunk guys I'd met in clubs, parks and alleyways. I was 17.
それも17歳の時の話か。
It felt like I was being punished. But it was Hannah who had betrayed us. I had to stop when one of the guys gave me an STD. When we met up, it was disturbing. For the first time, my reflection, she didn't look like me. She was fatter, flushed. If anything, I was getting skinnier. I found it hard to look sometimes. We talked about what to do. Was it time to become our own people? I mean, that seemed like the right thing to do, but neither of us wanted it. We agreed that her and Simon would get their own place as soon as possible, and then I could move in. And that was the plan.
それで、もしかして、両親を？うわ、そう。二人はずっと二人で一人の花という人間として生きてきたんだ。
This was about 9. I went round and she was waiting for me. She was furious and so angry, the kind of anger you can only have towards yourself. We screamed at each other, argued, cried, we fought. I hit her back, left a bruise. I had my wig on from performing, she tore it off. Eventually, we grew tired of fighting and I left.
なんだっけ、猫？あ、ちょうど5個出てくる。
No, they were shut. Most of the windows were really hard to open anyway. They're stifling in summer. They were painted over by my dad. Could have left a door open accidentally. Or there's a cat flap in the back door. No, no cat. My parents had a cat before they died called Domino. It was this little black thing with white dots. And we never did anything about the cat flap, but if you were thin, you could maybe squeeze through it.
体が細ければっていうのは、イーブのことを話してるのか？
When we weren't together, we'd send secret messages by tapping out a code that we'd learned from a book, the knock code. Something prisoners of war would use. We'd tap them out on radiator pipes or...
ああ、やってた。うつ伏せになってる、机に突っ伏してる時の動画でやってた。
Dad thought we had mice, but they didn't find any. Bought a cat anyway.
はあ、なるほどね。これモールス信号なのかな。モールス信号が分かればなんて言ってるのか分かるのかもしれないけど、さすがにしかも英語だろうしな。
We loved our cat, Domino. He had this little bell around his neck to stop him from killing birds in the garden. And we used to write each other notes and put them in the bell, and we could send them to each other. Mum found some of the notes once, and she thought I was just writing to myself because our handwriting was identical. And we had our own words for things, so she didn't quite understand them anyway.
なるほどね。チャット？終わったのか？これ、あれだな。このデータベースを見れるようにしてくれた人？いや、終わってな、まだ。この人は誰？はい。はい。あとは何で調べようかな。どのぐらい今見れてるんだろう。終わったのかって言われるってことはなんか、半分ぐらいいったかな。この人だよね、さっきチャットを送ってきたのはさ。コールすることもできる。終わったかいって聞かれちゃうな。まだなんだけど。すごい。パターンが違う。面白いゲームだぜ。っていうかすごい今更なんだけどさ、このゲームを日本語でプレイできるのってすごいよな。どうしようかな。出てくるね。ちょうど5個。
Then my parents died. It was the worst year of my life. The miscarriage and then my parents.
その話ね。でも、もしかしてさ、両親を食中毒で殺したのって、双子のどっちかなんじゃないの？
They'd gone to bed feeling ill, thinking it was flu or something. The neighbour called me, I had to use my key to let them in. We found them dead in their bed. And they'd been there for days. No one had noticed. Just awful. It was so soon after my miscarriage. The worst year of my life. I'd been so happy to get married, and after that it was just like, fuck. Yeah. I was infertile. Thought I was. They told me I was infertile after the miscarriage because of complications.
ってことはやっぱりこれを今見てるのは花の方なんだろうな。
Hannah had a miscarriage. This was late in the pregnancy and it left her infertile. Felt like the universe had corrected its course. We were aligned again. But Hannah and Simon were still living with his parents. They were married. Simon had a job at the Glaziers now. Eric had given him a full-time position after he left school. And then...
その後が気になるけど、なんか順番がめちゃくちゃになっちゃってるからさ、警察がパトカーが近づいたり遠ざかったりしてしまう。そうだな。
At the time they said it was poison, food poisoning. I mean, I felt so guilty. If I'd still been at home, maybe I could have done something. I don't know.
両親が亡くなった時、花は結婚しててサイモンの家に暮らしてたからいなかったんだけど、でもでも殺したのは花なんじゃないか。いやでも花とサイモンと一緒に暮らしたがってたのはイブの方なんだとしたら、イブが殺したのか？
A black coffee, thanks. No sugar. I'm sweet enough as it is. Black, no sugar. Thanks. No. I've had enough coffee for today, thanks. Glass of water. Yeah, we were 17. It was a nice wedding, people said. Simon looked very handsome in the photos. His parents paid for everything, but he's an only child, so it was important to them. It was what they called a shotgun wedding, but if you looked at the photos, you couldn't tell. The dress was beautiful. It looked like Princess Diana's. The train wasn't quite as long though. There's a great photo of the bridesmaid helping to carry it out of the car.
イブだね。結婚式なんだけど、写真でしかその状況を知らないんだ。
Okay, you got me. I'll confess. We were there. It was a dirty weekend. Simon was going to expense it, pretend it was a business trip. I used a made-up name. We stayed at the hotel, had room service, didn't leave the room, had a great view of the river, and you could hear the church bells. Like you said, it was very romantic. When I was 8, Mother died. She slipped down the stairs.
それ
It
は
was an accident. I had read a diary at that
フロー
point
レンス
and
の話
I
だ。
knew she wasn't my real mother. So I burned the diary that day and I left. Walked out and across the street. When beautiful people died, we always felt like it was a sign. You remember Princess Grace? Grace Kelly? She died in a car crash the year before we met Simon. We used a Ouija board to speak to her, and that gave us the power to find him. That's what we thought then. That people who died tragically leave some kind of magic behind. We used to share dreams. We used to wake up and write them down in our diaries immediately and compare them.
どこまでも二人は同じ人間として暮らしていたのか。
No, he doesn't keep a diary. That's my thing. I've kept one, well, as long as I can remember, since I was a girl. It helps make sense of my day. And when you're forced to put something into words, it just gives you perspective. Everyone's on the same page. Suicide? No. I mean, he would never do anything like that. He is not the kind of person to do anything like that. I mean, to hurt himself? No. When you suspect someone of murdering their husband. In the bedroom?
うわ、何の話か全然わからねえ。
That can't be right. In the bedroom?
うわ、何の話？続いてるっぽいけど。
I sleep on the right side of the bed as you come in from the door. You can tell because I have 2 pillows and he just has 1.
あ、50% 以上のデータベースのアクセス。やったー。まだ半分なのか。またこれも最終日だな。
This is a nicer room. This is where you take people when it's time to arrest them. Mum and Dad had never had any reason to notice. They were always busy. If Hannah was eating a lot, they didn't mind. She didn't put on any weight. That girl has a healthy appetite. If they heard us talking in the attic, they just thought it was Hannah playing one of her games, and that Eve was our imaginary friend. Once, she was already up and dressed and ready to go to school, and I snuck down for a piss. Mum saw me in my underwear and she went mad. Get dressed this instant! So I ducked into our bedroom, and seconds later, out came Hannah, dressed and ready. My mum was amazed.
そうか。育ての親というか、助産師のフローレンスが亡くなってからは、8歳以降はずっとそうやって屋根裏で暮らしていたのね。
And the Glaziers. I worked there some weekends and Simon had a part-time job there too. That was Eric's generosity. He was always good at helping out other people's children. Simon was quiet, more thoughtful than the other boys. Even then, he had a sense of craftsmanship. Wasn't always rushing stuff. Boys that age are just running around like headless chickens most of the time. You know? Plus, he had that look. He looked like a fairy tale prince from one of my books. God, I don't know. Could be anyone. Maybe someone followed him back from the pub. But why would he let them in? Doesn't make sense. No! You're talking to the wrong person if you think I'm some kind of slut. If you think I'm the kind of person that would have had sex with all those guys.
何の話だ？なんかまた知らん話が出てきた。男？
Was he my first? No need to be so coy. No, he wasn't my first.
カール。
That would have been Carl. He was a local boy in a band. He was a bit of a shit. But he was
あんま
sexy.
り関係はなさそうだけど。
We were 15.
15歳の時？カールの話の続きかな？
No, I was 15. Carl was older. 17, I think. I was really into him,
あ、
regardless
カー
of
ル
how
の
he
こと好
actually
きだったんだ。
behaved. Lots of drunken teenage sex. We did it in a church once.
罰当たりだな。
So he got tired of us and we split up after about 6 months. It was sad, but those early experiences, they help you realise who's really important to you, you know? Family.
そう、ファミリーね。
Family. So, Carl fucked off, and then there were other boys here and there, and then Simon.
それでガラス屋さんでバイトしてた話とかにつながるのかな？
Differences? She's a better driver than me. She passed the test for us. I
あ、
tried to take
そ
her
れ
in
で
and
免
crash
許が
them.
なかった。
Learned that you can't rely
なるほど。
on confidence to get you through everything. She is the shy one. She was especially shy around boys. If Hannah liked a boy, I would have to pursue him. It was that way with Carl.
あ、そうなんだ。
She had such a crush. I let him take my virginity after a night that his band had played at. It got difficult. When I was with Carl, we would have sex, but Hannah couldn't let him see she was a virgin.
うわ、複雑な関係だな。
After a while, we decided that I should take Hannah's virginity. It's not that different to a bruise, pulling a tooth, a graze. We used a hairbrush. After that, we took it in turns, though. I was always the one who seduced the boys. Until Simon.
ひー全部お揃いになるようにして、それで2人で1人を演じてたのね。
Hannah was so smitten with Simon. She started getting jealous, didn't want to share. Even the first date, we went to see Tom Cruise at the Old Odeon. We both went, kept changing places in the toilet. We only had one best dress, so we had to keep swapping clothes. Must have thought we had terrible bladder problems. The next date, it was my turn. At the end, I let him kiss me. But that was it. We didn't want another Carl on our hands, and the Ouija board had said to
意外と
hold
重
her.
要人物だったカール。
After that, it was Hannah's turn, and she slept with him. Broke the rules. Deliberately broke the rules. She wanted to be the first to sleep with him. I mean, that's when she got
そうだ
pregnant.
ね。
From that one time.
なるほど。名前だけの男かと思ったら意外と重要な手がかりを持ってた。カール。いや、さっきあざとか歯とかも言ってたな。それも気になるんだけど。あざね、確かに話してたわ、さっき最初の方で。
Bruce? Oh, yeah, no, it's nothing. I was going through the top cupboard in my kitchen and the chair slipped and I kind of hit the door with my face. It hurt like hell.
そうね。
If one of us got hurt, the other one would have to be hurt too. A grazed knee, a bruise. When I lost my tooth first, we had to pull out Hannah's to match.
ひー。
Once, I slept with a boy who was seeing another girl. The girlfriend came up to Hannah the next day and punched her in the face, gave her a huge black eye. That night, she had to do the
そう
same
な
to
る
me.
よね。
She almost went too
う
far.
わ
I couldn't see out of that eye for days. She snuck frozen peas up for me from the kitchen. So much of our bodies were synchronized anyway. We started our period on the same day. All our childhood diseases, stomach bugs, nits.
それは不思議な。
Can you imagine? I tried. I tried to get pregnant too, but it didn't happen. I slept with so many boys, men. My body refused. I think my period stopped because hers had.
Eh?
I was pretty. I mean, how could we stay the same now? I felt like Hannah had really fucked things up. Set us down separate paths. We had become different.
イフを裏切ってサイモンとの子を妊娠したハナに合わせるようにしてイブも生理が止まったって、それはちょっと不思議すぎない？
I think it was that time, the first time, at the house, in his bed, that I got pregnant.
Oh.
Amazing, right? This fucking magic sperm. And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. I didn't tell him. I missed 3 periods.
あ、
I had
そういう
pretty
こ
irregular
と？
periods anyway, but 3. I had always thought we were infertile.
はあ、
Both of us. I didn't tell him. Just waited. Hannah and I were meeting for our birthday, and I told her because I thought she would be happy for us both. I think she was.
いい、なるほど。いや、でもちょっとこの間が飛んじゃってる気がするな。待て待て待て待て、ちょっと時系列が難しいな。あとは何かな。
Like I said before, it was 3, something like that. I walked in, saw Simon. He was on the floor of the living room. His throat had been cut. There was a lot of blood.
その場には居合わせてなかったのか。
He was dead.
うん。ちょっとずるいかもしれないけど、数字総当たりでやってるんだけど、結構出てくるね。
Yes. The first time we saw each other, it was strange. We both realised at the same moment, I think. We must have seen each other before, but there was this instant when we first realised it wasn't a reflection. The reflection was staring back. I think I was 5. It was my birthday. My reflection was wearing a party hat and waving. I knew what party hats were from books. And it suddenly occurred to me, today must be my birthday. I waved back and we just spent ages waving at each other and copying each other's movements. It lasted about 6 months. I tried to carry on, but everything was different. Hannah insisted I not pretend to be her around Simon, let alone sleep with him. We didn't share him like the others. The rules had changed. Me living in the attic had become weird in a way it hadn't been before. No, I have never been unfaithful. I've never cheated on Simon. Have I ever cheated on Simon? You asked that question yesterday. Simon never cheated on me. He was devoted to me, and I was devoted to him. Nothing in life is easy. We were good to each other. Life isn't a fairy tale. You do what you can. Well, she wasn't my real mother, but she raised me.
フローレンス。
Do you want to hear the story? It's a real life fairy tale. Fairy tales. Stories about lost princesses, evil witches, magical mirrors, and lost children. So you see, even before I knew the truth, I'd found it in those stories. Okay, she's being chased. They're trying to catch her because she did something bad. I guess she broke the rules. Or maybe they think she did something bad. Maybe it wasn't her fault. She looks scared, not guilty. Maybe it was mistaken identity. Did they catch her there? I don't know.
あとちょっとというか、まあちょっとではないけど、結構まだ見れてないワードがありそうなんだよな。どうしたらいいんだろうな。
Yes, this is it. He made it himself. It's a special one-off. He made it and decorated it. That's his thing. Where did you find it? It just became our way of life. We would swap places and take it in turns to do things. And we were very careful. Whoever had been out that day would come back and write a detailed diary so that we were on the same page. We had a list of rules that said what we could and couldn't do in any given situation. It was exhaustive. We lived a second life through those rules. Rules for things that could only ever happen inside our imaginations. We would consider all the permutations of future events and agree rules to walk our way through them.
これは
Okay. I've given blood before. Do you need to take that for your records?
ああ、なるほど。だいぶ詰まってきたな。あと調べてないワードってなんだろうな。あ、まだ出てくるね。
Fine.
あ、
I've
指
had my
紋
fingerprints taken
ね。
before. I once put my hand on the oven.
やけどもある。あ、出てくるね。
Fingerprints.
そうじゃん。双子でも指紋は違うはずだよね。
Yes. Yeah. I would have cleaned them. I changed the sheets too. Were the fingerprints in all those places?
違うよね、さすがに。
Could they have been my parents' fingerprints? I'm not sure how long they last for, but is that possible? Really? Go on then. Take the cup. Run your fingerprints. They'll match. You didn't.
やけどは1個だけか。あとはなんだろうな。
Let me see. Yes. I drove in here because I remember, well, I went over the river. And then there was a church. There. Yeah. And I probably parked. Well, I remember seeing a street sign called Princess Street. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it must be this one. There. Simon's parents offered to put me up, but I didn't think it would be a good idea. It would be too sad. Not right now. I'm staying at a friend's. Yes. I thought about telling Hannah. I felt guilty after the kiss.
続きだ。
But then it began to feel like this was the way it should be. Sharing. Like we had before. He never mentioned her to me. There was the Simon with me and the Simon with her. It was almost like it was a different Simon. But nothing else happened that night. We talked, then I said goodbye. Then next week I was singing in the bar again, and there he was. And again the next week, he offered to buy me a meal. I told him I had already eaten, and so we got chips and ate them on the beach instead. When we said goodbye, he asked me to kiss him. Romantic.
実績だ。10代の頃に2人は1人の女を演じてサイモンと付き合ってて、それでその後結婚したけど、サイモンはもう1人の自分の妻の顔をした女イブに出会ってしまって、その後の話だな。2人が別人だってことを分かった上で両方と付き合ってた。
After the kiss, the next time, he took me back to the house, to our parents' house, to their house. So, it was definitely him. I sometimes think he wanted to get caught to prove to himself that we were different people. He told me about his marriage, told me how his wife was completely different to me. I almost burst out laughing.
なるほどね。あ、75% 以上結構埋まってきたかな。あ、だいぶ増えてる。そっか。いやー、これでもサイモンがだいぶやってるなーっていう気持ちなんだけど、ちょっとデータベースを埋めていくのはかなり途方もないと思うので、これはまあ一人で黙々と、まあ今までもだいぶ一人で黙々とやってんだけど、一人で黙々とやっていくとして、チャットのこの人に終わったって言ってみるとどうなるんだろう。え？君の母さん？あ、そっちか。そっか。娘なのかな？これはなんて返したらいいんだろう。君の母さんはイブの方かな。正直まだ全部見れてないし、情報がどっちがどっちとか時系列とかまだごちゃごちゃっとしてる部分もあるんだけど、イブはこの子供を守るために、自分のお腹の中にいる子供を守るために花を裏切って罪を告白したっていうことなのかな。いやでもサイモンを殺したのは多分花だよな。その現場に居合わせたわけじゃないのか。なんて返したらいいんだろう。分かったかって言われるとまだ不明瞭な部分もあるんだけど、いやどうだろう、正直まだわからない。
Her story is that she'd waited for him to come back. She put on my wig, some of my clothes, pretended to be me. They talked. She'd enjoyed being me. He said he wanted to be with me. Then he took out a present. Another mirror. Just like the one he'd given her earlier. That unique present. She went crazy, smashed the mirror. They argued, screamed. He hit her. So she grabbed a piece of the mirror and just swung it round. She cut his throat clean open. She'd only meant to scare him off.
なるほどね。花と結婚した後のサイモンがウィッグをかぶってパブで歌を歌っているイブを見つけてしまって、イブと相引きするようになっていった。それでその花がサイモンを殺してしまう日、二人の誕生日の日に最初に花に対してプレゼントとして手作りの鏡をあげた。その後に口論になったのは事実なのかな。花がイブのウィッグをかぶってイブになりすましてもう一度サイモンと話をしたんだ。その時にサイモンがイブに対して結婚したいというかアプローチをしたから、それを聞いて花が怒りに任せてサイモンを殺してしまったっていうことか。なるほど、だいたい事件の真相はこれで本当に分かったかな。ただこのね、君の母さんだからイブだよね。イブがあんなことをしたっていうのが分かんないんだよな。正直に分からないって言ったらどうなるのか。やっぱサラなんだ私は。まあログオフして出てきてくれ。そうか。まあじゃあ一旦動画ではここまでかな。これ以上ねやろうとするとものすごい録画時間が長くなっちゃうから。はい、全部見ましたし実績も全部解除しました。でちょっと重要そうなクリップというかね、最後の部分だけ動画に残しておこうと思うんですけど、これかな。
She sent him out the house, kicked him out, called me up, crying, and I went round. I guess I had a feeling I could hear something was wrong in her voice, but I wasn't sure what it was. She called me sister on the phone. She never calls me that.
最後の本当に自供の部分ですよね。
My sister is gone. And she's never coming back.
これはどういう意味なのかな。
Can you arrest someone who doesn't exist?
どこかに逃げたのか。
I'd like to speak to a lawyer now. Please. You have no murder weapon. You have nothing. And all these stories we've been telling each other. Just that. Stories.
ただの作り話ね。イブにとってはサイモンよりも花の方が大事だったから、花をどこかに逃がすために自分がアリバイになってっていうことなんだろうけど、全部ねデータベース見たんですけど、ずっと見てるとねだんだん2人の見分けがつくようになってくるんですよね。髪型とかタトゥーに頼らなくても結構話し方とか性格が違ってたりとかしてね。じゃあこれでこのゲームというか不思議な感じですよね。クリアですよっていうこう明確なさ ここでおしまいですおめでとうみたいなのがあるわけじゃなくて、私がこのストーリー、この花とイブという2人のストーリーを、理解した時点でこのゲームはクリアになるんだと思うんですけど、どう解釈するかというか、どう感じるかみたいな、そういうね、結構プレイヤーに委ねられる感じがあるんですよね。物語的に解釈すると、さっきも言ったように花とイブって結構性格が違ったり、わざとねタトゥーを見せてたりとかするのが、どちらかがあえて約束を破ってわざとその二人の相違点をあらわにしてたのか、それともその花がイブに罪を着せようとしたのか、それとも花は本当は気づかれたくて、本当はサイモンを殺してしまった罪を償いたかったのか。でもやっぱりイブはサイモンよりも花が大事だったから、最終的に花をどこかに逃がしたんだと思うんですけど、じゃあ果たして花はそれを本当に望んでたのかどうかとかね。どう思いましたかって、もしね見てくれてる人がいたら聞いてみたいんですけど、このデータベースを見てる人物サラ、娘ですよねっていうのは、この事件のことをデータベースで調べてるってことは、お母さんとは離別しちゃってるのかな、イブは捕まってしまったのか、そもそも花はどこに行っちゃったのかとか、そのサラの境遇、娘の境遇は語られないままっていうのもね、その彼女の物語っていうのが3人の女性の物語だったんだなって思いましたね。このゲームはね、私の好きなゲーム実況者さんが過去に配信でやっていて、でそのタイトルはずっと前から知ってたんですよ。だけどなぜかその配信を私ずっと見ずにいて、なんか自分でやりたいから意識して見てなかったっていうよりは、本当になんとなくずっと後回しにしてただけなんだけど、なんかここまで来たんだら、多分このゲームは自分でプレイするんだろうなっていう気がしてた不思議なゲームでしたね。で今回、そのスチームのサマーセールでね、手頃な値段になってたのでやってみたんですけど、いや、検索ワードを打ち込んで映像を見ていくっていう、ただそれだけの行為としてはただそれだけのゲームなんですけど、なんかすごい没入感っていうか、のめり込む感覚があって面白い経験でしたね。なんかタイピング音も気持ちいいし、検索中って砂時計が回ってる時のカラカラカラっていうなんか懐かしいダイヤルアップみたいなカラカラカラっていう音も、不思議と心地よくてというか、なんか断片的な映像からその事件の流れを推理するのも、その後のこと、結局捕まっちゃったのかどうなのかとか、画面の前にいるサラ、娘のことを考えたりとか、考察するのが楽しい。なんか余韻の残るというか、なんか面白い映画を一本見たような、そんなゲームでしたね。じゃあ、ここまでお付き合いいただいた方がいたら本当にありがとうございました。また別のゲームや配信でお会いできたら嬉しいです。それでは、ハーストーリーでした。